Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to Unicorns Do Exist, the podcast where we remind you that broken doesn't mean defeated, it means reborn. In today's episode, we will be talking about starting over, something I've done more times than I can count, way more. Sometimes by choice, and sometimes because life threw me a plot twist, like a telenovela that was written by a drunk person. Or Cantinflas. Starting over isn't shameful. Starting over is powerful, courageous, and divine. Starting over is a blessing, okay? Sometimes it's disguised as heartbreak, layoffs, betrayal, or the crazy idea to go back to college in your 30s. Whatever made you have to start over, be thankful for it. And I'll tell you why. Hi, I'm Vanessa, your host. If you're brand new, I've been cheated on. I'm currently going through a divorce. I've moved more times than I can count. I got laid off during maternity leave. I was dumped at 9 months postpartum. I've had to overcome not one, but 2 mental hospital stays. And honestly, I know all those things were in my favor. Because after being laid off during my maternity leave, even though I didn't want to be a stay-at-home mom, that kind of gave me time to fall in love with staying home. So I get to be a stay-at-home mom even after I got dumped. Thanks to starting over, I am packing my bags. Well, no, I'm not. I'm going to pack last minute. But we're going to Mexico City next week to see La Virgen de Guadalupe. And my old life could have never permitted that. So I'm beyond excited. You don't become the woman you're meant to be until life forces you to stop pretending. And I'm so excited because sometimes you don't become the woman you're meant to be until life forces you to start pretending to like the one you're currently living. But unfortunately, society has taught us to be ashamed of having to start over, be ashamed of a failed marriage. Because for some reason, staying in a stale, ugly, soul-draining marriage is better than deciding that you want more for yourself. Society teaches women to hold things together even when things are falling apart. Like, oh, poor you got a divorce. Well, honestly, I realized it's a life hack. Don't quote me on that. However, shame for losing your job. Shame for going back to school late in life. Like, who cares you didn't like the first thing you picked? You can pick a new one. You're alive. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to grow. Or shame for starting from zero while others are on chapter 50. And honestly, your reality isn't judging you. You're judging your reality because everything you touch is allowed to expand simply because you want to expand. And a lot of the times, the best part is getting there. The best part is the story. The best part is your compelling future. You don't need a guarantee. You need a compelling future. The first time I had to start over, I would say, was actually when I was very young. I was 18 and I decided to check myself out of school because I was heartbroken and moved to San Diego. Because that's the only place I could finish school and literally start over. But it was so cool. I got to go to an all-year-round high school, which I have never heard of before. In this school, Hispanics were the minority versus in the school I was in, we were the majority. I got to see a step team, a cheerleading team that was amazing, that did competitions like the movies. I got to meet some amazing humans that I still remember and I'm grateful for. It was so much fun. I was obviously growing and learning. It was a new start. It was an adventure. I think that was the first time I fell in love with starting over. Or at least I didn't fear it. Like, at least I did not feel like there was no way out kind of thing. Because your day one is so beautiful, so exciting. It's like when you come into this life, like a brand new baby. I'm not going to stop teaching my son how to walk until he learns how to walk. But he's going to have to fall. There's going to be a beginning where he starts standing. And he starts, well, first crawling. Then you start standing. And then he starts to fall. But that doesn't mean he's not going to walk. He's going to walk. Eventually, he's going to get it. He did start walking a little late, though. At least in my brain. But do you think that matters when he's like 18? No. Do you think that matters now when he's 2? No. All that matters is that he walks. That's it. No one's judging him. And if they are, that's their problem. I'm not judging him, even though I did a little bit. Oh my God, I even took him to the doctors to ask the doctor why was he walking. That was a total new mom move. Sorry. But hey, I learned a lesson that day. Do not judge your children with other people's children. There's no point. It doesn't matter. They're going to do it when they're going to do it. And I know starting over is scary and there's a fear behind it. But simply being born is also scary. And you survived that. So I think you're going to be fine. I find it more of like, think of starting over like another rebirth, a spiritual rebirth. One where you can choose to learn and grow. And yes, it's messy and loud and emotional and confusing, but day one is not something to hide or be ashamed of. Think of it as a spiritual rebirth. And yes, even a spiritual rebirth is messy, loud, emotional, confusing, and absolutely scary. But it's nothing to be ashamed of. So your day one is not something to hide. It's something to celebrate. But one thing to remember when you're starting over is to not compare yourself to anyone else. You know? Whether it's you're starting over a new business or a marriage or your life or career, whatever it is, do not compare yourself. Because comparison is what do they call it? The death of joy. It really is. I see it so much now because of like social media, and you see all these things out there that like are not necessarily, first of all, they're not necessarily true. Second of all, they've probably been doing it for years. So you should not compare yourself. And I get it. We all do it. It's a habit that you were taught, because I do believe that my parents would compare me to my sister. And I wouldn't have cared unless they pointed it out. So it's just a habit. It's not real. There's no point on doing it anyways. If you want to be inspired by others, yes, that's different. Or if you see a woman in love, you didn't see the nights that she cried. Or sometimes people say, oh, look at that marriage. But you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Not that there's not beautiful, amazing, gorgeous marriages out there, but they take work. They take effort. They take some tears sometimes too. But you can't compare your marriage to someone else's because you don't know what they've been through. Or especially do not compare it to your divorce. It's not apples to oranges. And sometimes, yes, you'll see a perfect business, thriving, but you didn't see all the sleepless nights that they had to put in. And you'll see the perfect marriage and love and happy and they're like thriving, but you didn't see maybe the breakups that she went through before that. If you see a mom thriving, you don't see the times that she doubted herself. Because they don't post that online. No one really talks about that time. Some people do. And those are the people that we resonate with. Those are the people that we connect with. Because that's real. Everyone has it. It's part of growth. It's part of life. And comparison will always kill your manifestation because it's telling the universe that you're not grateful for where you are now. I'm not saying you don't have to want more. You can want more, but always be grateful for where you are and how far you've come. Because you rise and you empower yourself by owning your timeline, owning your mistakes, owning your growth, not nobody else's. And yes, sometimes we don't want to start over, but life has other plans for us, like I said. A breakup, betrayal, divorce, layoff. Those are all things that are unexpected. But that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It means it's just the universe redirecting you. It's God telling you, hey, look, there's something better over here. And you wouldn't have found it if you would have stayed on this path. Today is a perfect example. I talked to my cousin. And he was like, I think I have some bad news, or I have some news. He said like something came up and I was like, what is it? He made it seem like it was bad news. And then he proceeds to tell me that he has to move out sometime soon. He doesn't know where, but his roommate or the people he lives with kind of mentioned like, hey, we might need the room. You're going to have to move out type of thing. And I was like, that's awesome. He did not expect that answer. I mean, he knows me, so he probably did. But he made it seem like, oh my God, this is so sad and it sucks that I have to move out. And in my first response, I'm like, that is so awesome. I am so happy for you. And he was just like, what? And I was like, you have been wanting more. You have been wanting to grow. You have been wanting to come to the desert. What a beautiful way of God telling you you're ready. And it's not like you have to move out tomorrow. It's not like it's like a rush or anything. They're like, you have time. But you get to pick this amazing new life. I'm like, think of it this way. You get to pick who you want to live with. You get to pick where you want to live. You get to pick so many awesome things. It's like a brand new adventure. And he's like, well, I don't want to live alone and stuff like that. I'm like, great. You get to pick a roommate. You get to pick everything. Like the world is at your disposal. The universe is tasking you, what do you want? And he's like, oh, wow, I didn't think of it that way. Right, because we're trying to always think of the scary stuff. We make it bigger in our head than what it really is. And that's just our body and our brains trying to keep us alive. Because when a dinosaur came, you just knew to run. And when you saw the water, you wouldn't just jump in it because something could kill you. So you were learning. That's like our little survival mechanism that kept us alive in the Stone Age. And that's a good thing. But at the same time, you can always question those thoughts because I have them all the time. And what I do is I question it. I say, okay, is that the ultimate truth? Could I look at this thing a different way? And I mean, in his case, I told him. I literally just told him how to look at it a different way. But sometimes not everybody has that. So you can always choose to see the positive in things. Even though they might be scary and sucky. And I'm not saying don't feel the emotions. Go through them. Okay, cool. This is happening. This is new. Oh my God. It's scary. What am I going to do? But then after the scare and the fear come down, then you can be like, okay, cool. How else can I look at this? Is this the beginning or the end? I like that one. I learned this from Tony Robbins, and he always asks, no matter what happens in your life, when you are faced with something that it's like adversary or something scary or something that you did not expect, you get to choose. Is this the beginning or the end of my life? Simply, it's the beginning of a new, amazing life. You get to create it. Yes, that one ended. My marriage ended. That relationship ended. But there's nothing to regret, at least in my part. There's nothing to regret. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Now I get to start something new. I can make that new life or journey or whatever a happy one. Simply by choosing that I'm going to have a happy one. You get to choose. Yes, things end and that's part of life. But at the same time, that gives you an opportunity for a brand new, amazing adventure. One where you get to choose. The main thing is choosing that you're going to make it better. Simply by thinking of what you want. Not what you're afraid of, not what you're scared of, not what you don't want. My cousin went into like, I don't want to live alone. I don't want to be lonely. I've done it before. It sucks. I was like, okay. Relax. So you want a roommate, right? You want someone fun. I'm like, tell me, what kind of roommate would you like? He's like, well, I don't know. And I was like, yeah, you do. Come on, tell me. What kind of roommate would you like? I'll give you a hint. Someone fun, someone clean, someone that you get to see here and there. That sometimes you don't even know if they're home or not, but you know they're there. You get along with. You can probably like become friends. He's like, yeah, that would sound cool. Okay, so now you get to create this ideal roommate in your mind and go find it. Go look for it. I mean, he's not going to come knocking on your door. You never know. God works in magnificent ways. You never know. He might come knocking at your door, or you might find him in the process of moving, or you make a post, you do the work, you take action to find that kind of roommate that you want. And you don't just get the first roommate you find. You continue to look until you get the one you want. Manifestation is not just sitting there and thinking, wishful thinking. It's taking action, doing the steps, putting in the work, and not settling, not giving in too quick. I've always loved moving. I've always thought it was fun. Like I said, maybe it's because of the first time I did it, I moved to San Diego and I thought it was so cool. Starting over. Same thing when I moved out here. Like, yes, I was heartbroken. Yes, it sucked, but I got to move in with my baby sister that I love. I got to move closer to my family that I've missed so much. I get to travel more often now because my partner was always working. And when we did travel, we wanted to travel together. So obviously, if she wasn't really going, I didn't really want to go. I mean, I traveled without her. I did. But who doesn't like to travel with their partner? It's more fun. So a lot of the times I would opt out or stay behind just to always be with my partner. I chose that and I'm okay with that. But now, like I said, I'm leaving Mexico City. I went to Puerto Rico to see Bad Bunny. I went to Puerto Vallarta for my birthday. This year I said I wanted to go to 3 new places. How was I going to do it? I don't know. I just said it in the beginning of the year. And thank God I went to Puerto Rico. I went to Puerto Vallarta for my birthday. I went to Miami. And now we're leaving to Mexico City next week. Or by the time the podcast is out, I would be in Mexico City. All these new adventures that I could have never done in that old life. Not saying it's good or bad. It just couldn't have happened. So every new beginning is a plane ticket. Now I think of it like every new beginning is a plane ticket to a new version of you. Literally. I'm packing for Mexico City. Well, I'm not. I will be packing pretty soon. I don't pack till the last minute. I want to know, do you guys pack a week in advance, a month in advance, or literally like 2 days before you have to get on the plane? There was one time I packed the morning of the trip. I did not do very well that day. I did not pack anything useful. Let's put it that way. So I've learned not to do that. If you are starting over, whether it's because you want to or you have to, because you're going back to school and it's exciting and it's fun, or because life just threw a curveball at you and you have no other choice, remember to just breathe. Close your eyes if you can. If you're driving, don't do it. But if you're listening to this and you need it, just close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And remember that you're not behind. You're not too late. You are being repositioned. You're being redirected. You're being guided. So that you can build the life that your future self is already grateful for. So, because I do have to pack, we're going to make this a short one. Remember that starting over is beautiful, it's brave, and it's normal. There's so many people that stay in situations where they're not happy or they're suffering simply because that's what they know. Simply because that's what they've been doing for so long. It's like a habit. Dice la canción, es más fuerte la costumbre que el amor. And so staying in situations where you are being drained, your soul is being sucked out of you, your wings are being clipped off, is not okay. So if you choose you and you choose to start over, that is the bravest thing you can do. That is commendable. That is admirable. That is respectable. And remember that you're not alone. I've done it. I'm still here. I'm growing. I'm glowing, healing, manifesting, and hopefully soon flying. And who knows, I'll probably have to do it again. I don't know. All I know is that it's going to be okay. It's going to be better than okay. Because I've always believed this. It's a quote from Marilyn Monroe. And it says, good things have to fall apart so better things can come together. That's one of her quotes that I love. And that woman had a magnetic aura. I can never, the world knows it. Go start over and be proud of it. And start by yourself or start with others. But do it for you. Do it because it's the best thing for you. Do it because there's another life out there that is waiting for you, and it's going to be the best you've ever had. And if it's not, guess what? You get to start again. But always learning, always growing, because you can never get it wrong. You can never get it wrong. There's always another start. And you can never get it wrong. Even when you get it wrong. It's just a lesson. It's there for you to learn and start again and get it right. It's like a video game. Every time you're trying to pass a level in the video game and you die, you get to start over. There's another life. And then you die like jumping from, I don't know, I don't remember Mario that much, but one of the plants eats you alive because you didn't see it there. You restart it, play again, you get more lives. Now you know the little plant's there. You're going to jump right over it. You're going to be like, not this time, little plant. And you're going to make it to the castle and you're going to win. And you get to go to the next level. Think of how exciting that is. You overcame that one. You're starting a new level in this little game called life. And that is something to celebrate. That is something to be happy about. That is something to embrace. And don't forget to ask for help if you can't pass that level either. Because you're not doing this alone, like I said. There's others around you that have done it before. There's people behind you that are going to ask you how you did it once you pass it. And that's the beauty of life. You just keep going. You keep doing it. So once again, thank you for being here. Thank you for staying to the end. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Make sure you follow us on Instagram for daily inspiration and behind the scenes. And don't forget to follow us wherever you listen to the podcast so you get notifications of every new episode. And remember, unicorns do exist. You're listening to one. Bye.